Morning, guys. This is Mopar Man 1978. This is the last video I'll be doing on the third part of the installing of the 727 transmission in my truck. And just go through this real quick. As you noticed in the last video, I used a heavy-duty come-along strap to anchor the transmission to the floor jack, hydraulic floor jack. But anyway, once I got it up into position, I had to take my other two come-along straps and go across from one side of the frame over on the driver's side underneath the tail of the transmission over here to this passenger side frame, and cinch it up to hold the tail of the transmission up. Then I took my other one, did the same thing across the frame, and brought it up underneath the bell housing to keep it in position, and that way I could disconnect the come-along strap from the floor jack, and then take the third come-along strap after I repositioned the floor jack to be more up front here to give the transmission more of an angle up front. And I repositioned everything, and then I went ahead and jacked it back up, got it all in position where I was able to get, sorry, we're going to be upside down here. I got this bolt started, and then the other one on the other side started, and once I started getting that done, and basically, you know, you just got to kind of take baby steps on the process when you're doing it by yourself. There we go. I'll zoom back in. Adjustments. Like I said, I don't have no shop, no garage, no concrete floor, nothing. So I'm pretty much an army of one doing this all by myself. So you got to improvise, overcome, and adapt. But yeah, so basically you got it up in there. And the other thing, slide up in here. I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not. Got my now this new torque converter I bought, it's a stock torque converter, but it has at least 300 more of stall than the other one I had previously that was stock also in this. I did have to fight with this one a little bit to get it to slide and engage all the way in, because it only went in about halfway and stopped. So what I had to do is lift up on the nose of the torque converter, jiggle it up and down as I'm putting pressure by pushing it back towards the transmission, and it popped in. So then it went back an inch and a half like it's supposed to, fully engaged. And then one thing I do is I grease up the nose on the torque converter, and I grease up the circular slot on the back of the crankshaft. So when that nose gets up in there, it's not pushing dry metal against dry metal. Maybe there might be a rough surface that might cause it to stick, and then you got all that weight up against it, and then you might not be able to get the torque converter to move well. The other thing too, on the nose, on the side of the nose, this torque converter had a little flat ring. I don't know, it stuck up about, gosh, I don't know, about I don't know, maybe 50 thousandths of an inch or something. I don't know. I didn't really measure it, but it was just enough to have a lip on there. I had to go around. It wouldn't engage into the back of the circular slot on the crankshaft. So I had to grind that ring off around the outside of the nose on the front of the torque converter. And then I had to smooth it out with a real fine hobby file and some Scotch-Brite. But anyway, I greased both those areas up so it makes it a lot easier for installation. And then I still had, it was able to rotate in there like it's supposed to, but the torque converter is supposed to come up to meet the flex plate, and it didn't quite do that. So I had to get a big heavy duty long 16 or 17 millimeter wrench with the box, the closed end. It was at a slight angle. I had to feed it in here behind the teeth on the torque converter and then tap on it to get the torque converter, and I did it on both sides to get the torque converter to move up a little bit. Got it up just enough to where I could get the threads on the flex plate bolts to engage on the threads on the torque converter blocks. And just took my time, and I pre-marked this. I put an X here and an X on the torque converter with a Sharpie to know where the bolts will line up properly, instead of having to sit there and guess and spin this. And then anyway, I did some thread locker, and then I also put some thread locker in on the threads itself and move it around, spread it around before I put the bolt in there. I put a little bit on the bolt threads itself to make sure. And then according to the manual, it says I was supposed to torque these down to 270 inch-pounds. So I did that. And now I got to get a new filter, because I had to take this off to get access to the bolt. And I guess I'll have to go to the salvage yard and look for the support. Where is it? Right there. Support straps. It goes from here down to this on both sides. Unless somebody out there has a set that they're not using and they want to sell them to me, let me know. But anyway, this still has plenty of threads all the way in here, so this little broke off piece isn't an issue. Same thing with this other side. But I don't know if you see that. There's my mini starter. $64 from O'Reilly's. What I do is I went to the salvage yard for like $5-10, got a junk core, took it in, and instead of paying what was like $20 to $40 for a core of a charge, you just hand them that shitty old starter, and I got me a brand new one. And if you guys want to know the number of the cheapest mini starter you can get from an auto parts store, let me know. I have that in my stored in my phone for part number and the price at O'Reilly's current price. But anyway, but yeah, that's pretty much it. I still got to I got to drill this and run a tap through this, because the original factory bolt, the thread got stripped out from the previous owner, so it was loose in there when I tried to tighten it up. So I got to drill that, tap it, put a bigger bolt in. I got all my linkage done up. I will have to let's see here, get a new brass fitting, because this line was previously bent by somebody else. It wasn't perfectly bent. The fitting, as you can see, will go right on there like it's supposed to, but because of that kink in the line, when I tried to put it on yesterday and I didn't have a shop light, I thought I had it on there perfectly straight when I started tightening this down, and it cross-threaded across the brass. So I'll have to get that fitting removed and replaced. But other than that, I got everything up. I have to put the drive shaft back in. If I had my wagon and I got to take this cross bracket off, these fucking bolts are going to be welded to this bracket itself because right now they're loose. I mean, I tightened all these up, but when you take the bolt off, this bolt likes to just spin on this bracket. So I'm gonna, if I get a chance again, I'm gonna weld the head of the bolt to this bracket itself. And that way I can put these plates on. And I might even weld these bolts too. But yeah, they're a pain in the ass because they let. And the other problem is if you don't get the bolt on there just right, see what I mean? That bolt will like to push up in there, and if you're not watching it, it'll fall down in here. So you got to try to retrieve it with a magnet, or stick your pinky up in there to move the bolt around to get it back, or try to reach up in through this gap right here. Yeah, so it's a pain in the ass, but other than that, enough jibber jabber. Slide back out from underneath the truck here. Oh. But, sorry. Anyway, gotta go buy a case of Type F transmission fluid for this. This transmission. Has a racing shift kit in it. Anytime you put a full manual valve body or a aftermarket shift kit in it, you got to run Type F transmission fluid. If you try to run anything else in it, it won't shift, it won't go in, it won't engage. But anyway, hope you enjoyed this third part. Have a good day.